Hello there. This is the Cowboy Prophet here in Maricopa, Arizona. I'm here to follow up on yesterday's post that I did regarding Starbucks, my being there, and their active support for this abortion measures. I want to discourse on that just a little bit more. To me, what this represents is this represents the crucifixion of actual God himself. We had an earlier one, and that was the Lord Jesus. And whether or not you believe in him, it was a crucifixion of values, of systems, of outlooks. This is the same thing. This is the death of God. So what I'm going to first start off with, I'm going to start off with a couple of quotes. One in particular from Friedrich Nietzsche, and thus spoke Zarathustra, possibly the last person that anyone would go to ascribe anything to do with Christianity. And I'm going to read his comment. It's right here. God is dead, and we have killed him. What was holiest and mightiest of all that the world had yet known has bled to death under our knives. In other words, thousands of cuts. This is what we've done. I'm going to go on a little further and read a couple more, then we'll get into the actual discourse. Number 2. This is from Gustave Le Brun. Okay? Got it written here. While all our ancient beliefs are tottering and disappearing, while the old pillars of society are giving way one by one, the power of the crowd is the only force that nothing menaces, and of which the prestige is continually on the increase. That was Gustave Le Brun. The crowd has become hypnotized, the hypnotizer. That's what happens, because we're basically believe machines, and was a terrible inducement for us to believe what the herd's doing. And I'll get into that too. But anyway, that's what he had to say. Now, who was Gustave Le Brun? I'm going to show you, I got a small thing here I did. I'll hold it up. I hope it shows up. Well, anyway, it all starts with Karl Marx. And then Marx diverged off into two different areas. One was towards Lenin, and then that went to Bolshevism, and it went to Stalin and Mao. The other path taken was by the totalitarians, as represented by Le Brun and the rest, and that diverged into what? Into Hitler and Mussolini. That is a basic understanding of what happened, but the core concept, the core corrupting influence was Marx, because it was the dethronement of the sacred part of us, and that was given an intellectual sort of a pillar. It was, it had credibility, and that's what made it work. So now, here's another thing that Le Brun said. Whoever can supply them with their illusions is easily their master. Whosoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always the victim. Conservatives, you're the victim. And liberals, you are what you are. I'm going to go into this second crucifixion aspect and more about the fetus. I have thought on this before all this came up. And I would say that the primary genesis for the understanding of the left that the fetus has no value, rights, or anything is that they say that it has no means of communication. It's a piece of hamburger, which is incorrect. A child, when it's born, has one and only one means of communication. That's it. And then it's up to the mom to decide with that each means and what the child needs. In a fetus, the only communication it has is I will demonstrate. They take a probe into the uterus and they touch a fetus. What it'll do is it'll pull away. It can't cry out. But the movement alone signifies a certain sense of consciousness, to consciously move away from a touch that it doesn't find pleasing or threatening or whatever. That is its only means of communication. That is its next, I'm out here. Give me a second, Braden, okay? Just give me a second. All right. Okay, that's the grandson. He likes to come out and see what I'm doing. Okay, the second one is consciousness. Consciousness. They say it has no consciousness. I would dispute this. What is the basis of consciousness? The core basis of it is this, is that the realization of you being different, distinct from your outside environment. Okay? That is it. And I've talked about this before. That's the only thing you can be sure of in this world. You can't be assured that what I'm talking is doing right now. You can't be assured of the people you're seeing, because there's people and institutions that manufacture whole peoples. But the one thing you have is your own sense of, I think, therefore I am. I'm going to contend that the child, the fetus, is also imbued with a certain sense of consciousness, and that it realizes that it kicks and stuff, that it's in its own environment. It is separate from the mother, which it is. It is not part of the mother, because the mother is one DNA construct, and the child is an entirely different one. It could be a different sex and everything. It could be an XY and not an XX. So that thing goes out, that it's part of the mother. No, what it is, it's an entity that's sustained by the mother, okay? That's it. It's like a father that has a child and locks it in a room and says, well, I'm not going to feed it. Well, you killed the child. So anyway, next thing here is, in pre-Abrahamic times, child sacrifice was common. It was talked about. And what it was for, it was perceived as basically enabling the betterment of society. Because by offering a child up here and there to a burning statue or something, that you're going to guarantee the greater society a more efficient world, a greater produce, all these types of things. This is the same thing. Modern abortion is just that. It makes you a better statist. You can now perform for the state better. But I'm going to get to the last point, and that is the complete bankruptcy of our spiritual leaders. They're abysmal. A lot of them, not all of them. I'm going to go to the more institutionalized and the more politicized. They're the worst. I would say the worst are probably some of these liberal black ministers who bring in the absolute most wretched, anti-God people possible, that actively promote the extermination of their race. They want to put Planned Parenthood in every one of their communities. They want to basically have their children not being able to receive a proper education. Everything possible. They've abandoned marriage, everything there is that could literally urinate on God. They bring these ministers, bring these liberal politicians up, and they give them great praise. But I'm going to tell you the king of them all. That's the Pope. Pope, you are a total fraud. Not every priest, not every Catholic, but you are a total frigging fraud. I see through you. I saw through you in the beginning. You can wax on so eloquent and get so indignant about global warming, CO2, but yet you allow people like Nancy Pelosi, our president now, Biden, actively promoting the extermination of innocent life, and you remain silent. You are utterly without a grain of courage, my man. You make some of these black ministers look like kings. You're an abomination. And I'm going to devote a few series to you and your failures. You're bringing forth leftist Euro trash and promoting this as spiritual awareness. Spiritual awareness comes from an awareness of God, not from the New York Times. Cowboy Prophet signing off. I'm going to be back every day. I was sick for a while, but now I'm back. Thank you.